To try to stop the desert from encroaching further south into the Sahel. The idea to create a huge strip of vegetation crossing the entire African continent.
That even some of the land, the rocks, the mountains, the hills and so on, it cannot be a linear process. The second big challenge that makes it not technically sound.
Burkina Faso is rising, not with oil rigs or glass towers, but with trees. President Ibrahim Traoré has just launched a historic initiative, 20 million trees planted across the nation. But this isn't just reforestation. These are medicinal trees, a bold, homegrown vision to heal both the land and its people. For decades, Burkina Faso has been drained of its gold and left barren by foreign exploitation. Now, from the dry Sahel to the green savanna, life is being restored. Forests rich in native herbs, remedies, and jobs are beginning to bloom. This isn't charity, it's a grassroots revolution, one seed at a time. President Traoré's pledge isn't about photo ops or foreign aid, it's about reclaiming identity. This is Burkina rerouting itself, culturally, economically, ecologically, and it's doing so on its own terms. The 20 million trees include baobabs, moringas, and nere, trees that are sacred to the people, packed with nutrients and rich in healing properties. This isn't symbolism, it's strategy. Schools, farmers, elders, and even soldiers have joined in. It's not politics, it's a people's movement. While many world leaders issue climate reports and delay action, Traoré is planting answers. Burkina Faso, once scarred by drought and deforestation, is turning into a living pharmacy. Each tree planted is a declaration. We're building a future, and it's green, resilient, and ours. In a region plagued by instability, this is more than environmentalism, it's resistance. The West can keep its carbon credits. Africa is planting sovereignty. This is a green revolution rooted in ancient wisdom. Shea, moringa, neem, trees whose roots, bark, and leaves have cured malaria, boosted immunity, and healed wounds for generations. Now, under Traoré's leadership, these native remedies are finally getting investment and recognition. Burkina Faso is turning forests into pharmacies. Imagine families accessing immune boosters, antiseptics, and vitamins, not in hospitals, but in the trees growing behind their homes. Universities and traditional healers are working together, documenting and scaling this knowledge. This is health sovereignty, no more dependence on expensive, imported drugs, no more waiting for help. The medicine is in the soil. In a world where rural villages often lack basic healthcare, Traoré is growing it, leaf by leaf, root by root. These are sacred trees, not just because they heal the body, but because they protect the land, empower the people, and restore dignity. Burkina Faso is no longer waiting, it is leading, and the world would be wise to pay attention. Rooting people to place and purpose. Burkina Faso isn't just planting trees, it's planting memory, medicine, and meaning. It's reclaiming ancestral knowledge, restoring health sovereignty, and reminding the world that not all cures come in pills. Some come in leaves, bark, and blossoms. Reclaiming the Sahel, turning dust into destiny. For decades, the Sahel has been portrayed as a dying region, dry, desolate, and doomed. But under President Ibrahim Traoré, that narrative is being rewritten, tree by tree. The 20 million tree campaign isn't being planted in lush, fertile valleys. No, it's taking root in the harshest landscapes, in wind-burned fields and cracked earth where hope once felt impossible. This isn't just reforestation, it's resurrection. The plan. Use trees not only to combat desertification, but to transform dead zones into corridors of life and commerce. Agroforestry is at the heart of this vision. Trees are being integrated with crops and livestock, creating microclimates that restore soil, shield harvests, and invite pollinators back. The results are already remarkable. Villages that once survived on food aid are now producing their own fruit, nuts, and herbs. Women are building cooperatives around baobab powder. Youth are turning reforestation into business. This isn't a project, it's a paradigm shift. And for those who once called the Sahel a lost cause, Traoré's forestry engineers and community planters are proving them wrong every single day. Because this isn't just about planting, it's about planning. From water retention pits to seed ball techniques, from community woodlots to education programs, this is not theory, it's transformation. The most powerful part? It's Burkina Bay solutions to Burkina Bay challenges. No foreign parachutes, no corporate branding, just local hands, indigenous wisdom, and national pride. The Sahel isn't dying, it's rising. and President Traore is leading one of the most ambitious land restoration movements Africa has ever seen. This is dust into destiny. This is the new Burkina Faso blueprint: jobs, justice, jungle. Tree planting may sound gentle, but in Burkina Faso, it has become a weapon of mass employment. The 20 million tree campaign is driving one of the biggest green job booms in the country's history. Seed collectors, nursery caretakers, soil scientists, eco-guards, tens of thousands of jobs are being created, and not just in the cities. This is a rural revolution. Entire villages are being contracted to plant, maintain, and monitor these living corridors. The ripple effect is massive. Local artisans are creating eco-products from forest byproducts. Women's groups are exporting shea butter and moringa oil. Youth collectives are building mobile apps to track tree growth and carbon capture. This is circular economy 101, not designed in Silicon Valley, but in the grassroots hubs of Ouagadougou and beyond. Now let's talk justice. Under colonial and post-colonial systems, forests were controlled by the state, locking local communities out of their own lands. Traoré flipped that script. His campaign is rooted in land justice. Communities own the trees they plant. They decide how resources are used, shared, and protected. That's not just sustainable, it's revolutionary. And while other governments speak green and act grey, Traoré is doing both, with force. Burkina Faso's military has been deployed not for war, but for protection, guarding saplings, halting illegal logging, and defending this green rebirth. In today's Burkina Faso, justice doesn't wear a robe, it carries a shovel. President Traoré isn't just growing trees, he's growing equity, dignity, and economic sovereignty. The world should be watching, because what's rising in Burkina Faso is more than a forest, it's a future.
On est venu constater les résultats extraordinaires que cette technique a permis d'obtenir. Ce qui fait que un producteur peut facilement doubler, sinon même tripler sa production.
Yakuba is really amazing in what he's doing because he never ever stopped trying. He's like a scientist, and every year he's adding from his experience.
You know what's more powerful than a political speech? A generation with dirt under their nails and fire in their eyes. President Traoré's tree campaign has done more than green the land. It's ignited a youth movement in a time when so many young people across Africa feel forced to flee, to cities, to foreign shores, to uncertain fates. Burkina's youth are staying to plant, staying to build, staying to defend their homeland. This isn't some government PR stunt. It's organic, it's electric, it's grassroots in the truest sense. Young Burkina Faso are forming reforestation brigades. They're tracking progress on social media, turning the green revolution into a national mission. Schools now have tree planting quotas. Graduates are joining agroforestry startups. The tree has become a badge of honor. And Traoré, he's not just watching from a podium, he's marching with them. His government has turned classrooms into eco-labs, launched rural internships, and rolled out competitions rewarding youth-led forestry projects. These young people aren't waiting for climate conferences. They are the climate conference. Boots in the mud, hands in the soil. Even rappers are dropping bars about biodiversity and resistance. Who knew trees could spark a cultural revolution? And here's the truth. No other country in the region is doing this. While others struggle to mobilize their youth, Traoré has sparked a movement where saving the planet and saving the nation are one and the same. This isn't just hope, it's action. And with every sapling planted, the message grows stronger. Burkina's future isn't being debated in foreign boardrooms, it's being rooted into the earth. The applause is global, but the victory is ours. Yes, the world is watching. Headlines call it Burkina's Green Miracle. UN agencies and think tanks are lining up to applaud Traoré's climate campaign. But let's be clear, Traoré isn't planting for praise. He's planting for survival, for sovereignty, for the soul of his nation. This isn't some donor-approved, externally drafted blueprint. It's homegrown, Burkina Faso born. It's a movement that's proving Africa doesn't need to follow, it can lead. While world leaders argue over emission targets, Burkina is planting carbon sinks. While others chase green profits, Traoré is fighting for green justice. This isn't charity, it's repair. It's about reclaiming what was stolen: land, dignity, and ecological agency. Yes, let the world come and study. Send drones, fund labs, publish reports. But understand this, the deepest pride lives in the villages, in the mother walking her child down sapling-lined paths, in the elder who remembers when the land was bare, in the child who draws trees in their notebook, not tanks. That's the legacy, and that's the revolution. So yes, let the world applaud. But this victory doesn't belong to international donors or foreign NGOs. It belongs to Burkina Faso and to President Traoré, a man who doesn't need validation. His roots run too deep. He's not planting for today's headlines, he's planting for tomorrow's peace.
Dans le temps passé, les terres là sont vraiment suffisantes. Mais à l'heure actuelle, là, ça ne répond plus.
When you have less natural resources available for people, the limited remaining places or spots where you have those opportunities, will be a concentration of people. They will move from one place to another in order to get access to those resources. Everybody fend for themselves, and in that, of course, you have some clashes, you have some problems.
Vraiment trouver des moyens pour faire en sorte que les populations vivent mieux dans un écosystème qui est très hostile, qu'on connaît déjà, que l'écosystème du Sahel.
J'ai été élu le 17 mai 2021, installé comme maire. L'environnement, selon moi, l'environnement, c'est le centre principal du développement de la commune, du moment que la plupart de la population ne vivent que de cette terre-là, l'agriculture et l'élevage.
In a region scarred by instability, where terrorist factions thrive on poverty and ecological collapse, President Ibrahim Traoré is doing something few thought possible. He's turning trees into tools of peace. This is not just environmental policy, it's geopolitical strategy. Burkina Faso's reforestation campaign is a security doctrine rooted in soil, not slogans. How does it work? Because it targets the root causes of extremism: degraded land, empty plates, idle hands. When the earth is barren, desperation grows. But when the land is productive, people stay, families thrive, and young men choose planting over violence. The tree becomes a peacekeeper, and this isn't symbolic. Security forces are being redeployed, not just to guard borders, but to protect green zones. Local militias are being retrained as eco-guards. Burkina's military ethos is shifting from defense to regeneration, and it's working. Villages once abandoned are coming back to life. Displaced families are returning. Agricultural yields are rising. Burkina isn't just defending itself with weapons, it's defending itself with roots, shade, and sustenance. While world powers seek peace through drones and diplomatic summits, Traoré is proving that sometimes peace comes from a shovel, not a summit. From saplings to sovereignty, what the future holds. The 20 million tree campaign is just the beginning. Traoré has already hinted at phase 2, expanding to 100 million trees by 2030. Integrating tree-based learning into national education, building a regional eco-alliance with Mali, Niger, and Ghana. This isn't idealism, it's already underway. Seed banks are growing, rainwater harvesting systems are scaling. Burkina's forestry schools are training the next generation of eco-diplomats. This is more than green policy, it's green governance. Traoré doesn't just want to stop desertification, he wants to build forests that fuel industries, feed nations, and fund futures. He envisions a regenerative economy, not one based on extraction, but on abundance. Imagine this: Burkina Faso pharmaceuticals built on native medicinal plants, carbon markets owned by rural cooperatives, a nation once defined by gold mines now exporting green as its most valuable resource. That's the new dream, and it's rooted in sovereignty. For too long, Africa's fate was written in faraway boardrooms, but under Traoré, Burkina Faso is reclaiming the pen and rewriting the story. To the outside world, these may look like saplings, but to Traoré, they are pillars of a sovereign future, deep-rooted, wide-canopied, unstoppable. This isn't just reforestation, this is resistance. As the world suffocates under pollution and policy failure, Burkina Faso is breathing life, one tree at a time. The 20 million medicinal tree campaign is more than an environmental effort. It's a cultural revival, an economic awakening, and a declaration of independence. It empowers villages, restores ancient wisdom, and builds a future free from handouts. This is a revolution rooted in dignity and renewal. If you believe healing starts with the land, you're witnessing history. Like, share, subscribe.